In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Dear students, I'm going to talk about apostrophe today. You might be thinking about apostrophe. What is apostrophe? An apostrophe is a direct address to dead, absent, or personified object or idea. This figure is a special form of personification. Like here in this picture, you can see the line, "Oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?" So, this line is telling us that Romeo is not present when this line is spoken. Next example, Milton, thou shouldst be living at this hour. This line is taken from London, 1802, written by William Wordsworth, and he is well known for his poetry as a romantic poet. In this line, Wordsworth laments the moral and spiritual decay of England in the early 19th century. He feels that society has lost values like honesty, virtue, and selflessness. And by invoking John Milton, the great poet of the 17th century, Wordsworth wishes that Milton were alive to guide and inspire the nation with his noble ideals and moral strength, because Milton was a spiritual person, a religious person. Second example is, "Oh friend, I know not which way I must look for comfort." This line is taken from Dejection, that is an ode written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and he is well known as S.T. Coleridge, and he is also the romantic poet. The poet expresses deep emotional distress and inner conflict. He addresses a close friend and confesses his inability to find comfort and peace anywhere. The lines reflect his personal suffering, mental depression, and loss of creative joy, which form the central theme of the poem. Next, roll on, thou deep and dark blue ocean, roll. This line comes from Canto 4, from Childe Harold's Pilgrimage by Lord Byron. Byron glorifies the vast, powerful, and eternal ocean. The poet admires the ocean's freedom, timeless strength, contrasting it with the temporary and corrupt nature of human civilization. The ocean symbolizes permanence and natural majesty beyond human control. Next, "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" These lines are taken from the Holy Bible, and this quotation celebrates the triumph of life over death through faith in resurrection. It also suggests that death has lost its power and fear because of spiritual victory. The lines are often used to express hope, courage, and belief in eternal life. Next line, "O liberty, what crimes have been committed in thy name?" This line is spoken by Madame Roland during the French Revolution and is quoted by Thomas Carlyle's French Revolution. This line condemns the misuse of noble idea of liberty, and the speaker points out that in the name of freedom, terrible crimes and injustices are committed during the revolution. And it also highlights the irony that a concept meant to free humanity became an excuse for violence and cruelty. You might have listened these sentences like, someone says, "I am very hungry, I can eat a horse." And you can also say that when you are telling the joke, other person keep laughing and you say he is dying of laughter. And you can also say that your bag is very heavy, it weighs a ton. She cried a river, size of a pea. I am freezing. It is killing me. Raining cats and dogs. So these statements are called hyperbole, and in hyperbole, a statement is made emphatic by overstatement. Here is an example, and it is very famous example from play of William Shakespeare, that is Macbeth. "It is the smell of blood. Still, all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand." Lady Macbeth speaks these words while sleepwalking, and she imagines that her hands are still stained with blood from King Duncan's murder. This line shows her deep guilt and mental torment. Despite all perfumes, she feels her crime cannot be hidden or forgiven, revealing how guilt has destroyed his peace of mind. Next example is, why, man, if the river were dry, I am able to fill it with tears. This line is spoken by King Lear in William Shakespeare's tragedy King Lear. King Lear says this during a moment of intense emotional pain caused by the cruelty and ingratitude of his daughters, and the line also emphasizes overwhelming sorrow. He exaggerates his grief by claiming he could fill a dry river with his tears, highlighting his tragic suffering. Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain. This line is spoken by Queen Gertrude in William Shakespeare's play Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 4. Gertrude says this after Hamlet harshly criticizes her for marrying his uncle, King Claudius. This line shows that Hamlet's words have deeply hurt her and awakened her conscience. It reflects the emotional conflict and guilt she begins to feel. Fourth example. Surely never lighted on this orb which she hardly seemed to touch a more delightful vision than Mary Antoinette. This line is taken from Edmund Burke's reflection on the Revolution in France. Burke describes Mary Antoinette, the Queen of France, with admiration and sympathy. He idolizes her beauty, grace, and dignity before the French Revolution. This line reflects Burke's sorrow over her humiliation and violent destruction of traditional values during the Revolution. Fifth example is, I loved Ophelia, 40,000 brothers could not with all their quantity of love make up the sum. This line is spoken by Hamlet in William Shakespeare's play Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 1. Hamlet speaks these words at Ophelia's funeral while confronting Laertes. He declares that the depth and intensity of his love for Ophelia, claiming that even 40,000 brothers together could not love her as much as he did. The lines reveal Hamlet's deep grief and emotional turmoil at that time. Okay, next is euphemism. Many times you have heard these phrases like, instead of saying this sentence like, my uncle died the day before yesterday, they say, my uncle passed away day before yesterday. And I have to urine. He can say, I have to spend a penny. Instead of saying your employee that you are fired or you are sacked, you can say, we are going to let you go. Instead of saying that you are an idiot, you can say, you have an interesting point of view. Instead of saying, go away, I am sick of you, you can say, I really need a lot of peace and quiet. So, euphemism consists in the description of a disagreeable thing by an agreeable name. For example, he has fallen asleep means he is dead. You are telling me a fairy tale. Instead of saying you are lying, you can say you are telling me a fairy tale. Next one is antithesis. In antithesis, a striking opposition or contrast of words or sentiments is made in the same sentence. It is employed in secure emphasis. For example, man proposes, God disposes. This proverb is derived from Thomas A. Kempis, The Imitation of Christ, and reflects a biblical idea. The saying means that human beings may plan their actions, but the final outcome is determined by God. It emphasizes human limitation and divine control over fate. Next one is, not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. This line is spoken by Brutus in William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2. Brutus justifies his role in Caesar's assassination by claiming that his love for Rome was greater than his love for Caesar. The line highlights the conflict between personal loyalty and patriotism. Example number 3. Better 50 years of Europe than a cycle of Cathay. This line is taken from Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem Locksley Hall. And the poet prefers a 50 years of progress and dynamic life in Europe to a long, unchanging cycle of life in Cathay, that is, China. The line reflects faith in Western progress and modern civilization. Cathay is the name by which China was known to medieval Europe. Better 50 years of Europe than a cycle of Cathay. Cathay is the name by which China was known to medieval Europe. Next is give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. This is an advice given by Polonius to Laertes in Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3. Polonius advises his son to listen to everyone but speak cautiously. The line teaches wisdom, discretion, and careful judgment in social life. Fifth example is speech is silver but silence is golden. This is a traditional proverb widely spoken in English literature. And the proverb suggests that while speaking has value, silence is often more valuable. It promotes restraint, wisdom, and thoughtful behavior. To err is human, to forgive divine. This line comes from Alexander Pope's in Essay on Criticism, and the poet states that making mistake is natural for humans, but forgiving others requires a higher godlike quality. The line emphasizes mercy and tolerance. Many are called, but few are chosen. This is a quotation taken from Bible, Gospel of Matthew, New Testament. This statement is spoken by Jesus Christ at the end of the parable of the wedding banquet. Many are called means that God's invitation to faith, righteousness, and salvation is open to all people. Everyone is given the opportunity to respond. Few are chosen means that only those who sincerely accept the invitation and live according to God's will are ultimately accepted. This message emphasizes that one must respond correctly. Being invited is not enough, and true selection depends on faith, obedience, and moral conduct, not just outward association. Eighth example is he had his just and they had his state. This line refers to Sir Thomas More, quoted in Francis Bacon's essay. It means that Sir Thomas More enjoyed his wit and humor, but others took away his wealth and property. The line reflects the cost of integrity and honesty. Ninth example is the Puritan hated beer baiting not because it gave pain to the beer, but because it gave pleasure to the spectators. The line is from Thomas Babington Macaulay's essay Milton. Bear baiting is a form of entertainment which involves setting dogs to attack a captive bear. This is a picture you can understand very well. Macaulay criticizes the Puritans because their opposition to entertainment was based on hatred of joy rather than concern for cruelty. The line exposes Puritan intolerance toward pleasure. A man's nature runs either to herbs or weeds, therefore, let him seasonably water the one and destroy the other. This line is taken from Francis Bacon's essay Of Nature in Man. Bacon compares human nature to a garden, means good qualities are called herbs should be nurtured, while bad habits that are called weeds in this essay should be removed early. The line teaches self-discipline and moral development. Our next figure of speech we are going to discuss is oxymoron. It is a special form of antithesis whereby two contradictory qualities are predicted at once of the same time. For example, one choice, organized mess, ocean shore, open lock, pretty ugly, red licorice, round corner, real magic, safe guns, slave master, student teacher, serious humor, sunshade. Another example is given here like his honor rooted in dishonor stood and faith unfaithful kept him falsely true. These lines are taken from William Shakespeare's sonnet 152, and these line contains contradictory ideas placed together. For example, honor versus dishonor, faith versus unfaithful, true versus false. Shakespeare shows the complexity and hypocrisy of love. The lover appears honorable but is actually dishonorable. His faithfulness exists with unfaithfulness. The paradox highlights emotional conflict and self deception. Example number two is so innocent arch, so cunningly simple. The words contradict each other innocent versus arch, playfully clever or sly, cunning versus simple. This phrase suggests someone who appears innocent and simple but is actually clever and subtly manipulative. The oxymoron emphasizes deceptive simplicity. Example number three is she accepted it as the kind cruelty of the surgeon's knife. So, here, kind and cruelty are totally opposites. The surgeon's knife is painful, but it is necessary. This phrase means that although the act causes pain, it is done for beneficial purpose. The oxymoron highlights the idea that some harm is necessary for healing or good outcomes. Next literary device which we are going to discuss is epigram. An epigram is a brief saying frequently introducing antithetical ideas which excite surprise and arrest attention. For example, the child is the father of man. This line is spoken by William Shakespeare in the poem My Heart Leaps Up. This statement appears contradictory because a child cannot literally be a father, but Wordsworth means that a person's childhood shapes their adult character. The experiences and values formed in childhood influence the person they become later in life. Example number two of epigram is a man can't be too careful in the choice of his enemies. This is spoken by Oscar Wilde. Normally, people are too much careful in choosing friends, not enemies. Wilde humorously suggests that enemies reflect one's importance and values. Choosing worthy enemies implies intelligence and self awareness, making the statement paradoxical. Example number three is fools rush in where angels fear to tread. This is spoken by Alexander Pope in an essay on criticism. The line contrasts fools versus angels. It means that ignorant or reckless people act without thinking, while wise people are cautious. The paradox highlights the danger of acting without understanding the consequences. Fourth example is in the midst of life, we are in death. The source of this line is a Book of Common Prayer based on medieval Christian thought. This statement suggests that death is always present even when we are alive. It emphasizes the fragility and uncertainty of human life, reminding us that life and death coexists. Next literary device is irony. Irony is a mode of speech in which the real meaning is exactly the opposite of that which is literally conveyed. People. No doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. The source of this line is the Bible, book of Job. Job speaks sarcastically to his friends, pretending to praise them. He does not really believe that all wisdom exists only with them. By saying that wisdom will die with them, Job ironically criticizes their pride and self importance. Example number two. The atrocious crime of being a young man, which the honorable gentleman has, with such spirit and decency, charged upon me, I shall neither attempt to palliate nor deny. This is spoken by William Pitt the Elder in Parliamentary Speech 1741. William Pitt uses irony to defend himself against criticism for being young. Calling youth an atrocious crime is sarcastic. He implies that youth is not a fault but a strength, and he mocks his opponent's accusation by pretending to accept it. Here, under leaves of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. In his speech, Mark Antony addresses the Roman crowd after Caesar's assassination. Although he repeatedly calls Brutus and the conspirators honorable men, Antony does not truly mean it. His words are ironical. By contrasting Brutus's claim that Caesar was ambitious with his own personal experience of Caesar as faithful and just, Antony subtly exposes the hypocrisy of the conspirators. The repeated phrase, Brutus is an honorable man, gradually makes the audience doubt Brutus's honor and turns public opinion against him.